Yes, this video is about ripping apart Mossman because I happened to find one figure at Target last night, which was Mossman. So he's going to be my sacrificial figure on how the figures are pulled apart and how they work. So let's first open them up and check them out, and then I'm going to rip them apart. But Kevin, being you're the only one on here right now, I'm going to wait a couple minutes before I start, and I'm just going to talk about some other things. So as you guys know, I sold my oh man, what is his name? Overkill. And so I am collecting the parts to remake my Overkill. So I have my Lobo. I got my hat from the other figure. I have my Buzzsaw Hordak. I got some extra parts of Horde Prime. And now I just won an auction a little while ago, just Friday night I think, for the parts I need for the gun inside his chest. So that is all coming together. All right, so we got 3 people online. Let's go ahead and get this thing started. Thanks for joining me. Actually, now it shows 6. Hooray! So let's go ahead and talk about Mossman. Mossman is one of the figures from Teela and the Masters of the Universe, the new cartoon that came out on Netflix. Okay, I know, it's just called Masters of the Universe, but I thought I'd mess with you guys. And it says, Mossman, heroic spy and master of camouflage. Once believed to be nothing more than a legend, the mythical pre-Eternia plant creature Mossman is wise beyond his million years. His powers of great strength, plant control, and shape-shifting into any form of plant life makes him an invaluable ally to He-Man in the fight against Skeletor as a protector of Castle Grayskull's secrets. Mossman sagely advises... Mossman's sagely advice helps guide his friend He-Man to the right path. Alright, so I guess his job is just to give advice. Hey, watch out! Left shoulder! Anyway. Hey, Dawn, you made it here live. Thanks for joining us. So let's go ahead and rip this guy open, and let's take a look. First of all, the box is kind of cool. It says there's 30 points of articulation, and he does come with extra hands, as I mentioned in the last video. So we're looking at, we got these 4 hands here, these 2 hands here, and an extra hand here. So we're looking at 7 different hands you can put on him. So that's pretty cool. I got my trusty scissors here. And let's go ahead and get this box open and get the tape out. Now it looks like there's this tape across the bottom here. I'm hoping if I open the bottom, I can just slide them right out. That way the box can be reusable. Let's see if I am correct on this. Now I have opened one Revelation figure already, and that was the Super Saiyan Skeletor. And I should have brought him out to do a size comparison. Oh well, he's put away right now, so yeah, I don't have him sitting here in the corner. I did clean up my mess a little bit on my desk, as you can see. Moved the fort off my desk, so that was kind of weird to have my desk a little cleared off. And these sides just open right up to give you access to the box. And let's pull out the Man of Sage Advice, which just seems so weird. That's his superpower. I have sage advice for you. Now, surprisingly, look at that. They got a cool backdrop for it. They actually have it double packed just like we saw at the Skeletor. I'm surprised that they did that. So it is very easy to repack this up. Whoop. And you can see there he is with his giant Mossman legs like roots with his feet. That's pretty cool. So this figure is going to have lots of customizability to use with other things. I can imagine using pieces of him to create a new Evil Seed, or even mixed with Evil Seed. It even has very Evil Seed looking stuff. If you were to put little pieces on here sticking up so they're all pointy, on the vines, then it would look more like Evil Seed. Now his head is very small. See a small little head, so that's kind of weird looking, but I guess the whole set's that way. And then, of course, he has lots of extra hands. I'm not sure why they give him so many hands. Let's take a look at all these hands and see if we can figure out the whys behind them. So he has these sharp-looking ripping claws with 3 fingers and 1 thumb. And I guess these hands also have 3 fingers and 1 thumb. That's interesting. I guess they're going for the cartoon Hanna-Barbera style. And these hands are more open and more tree-like. So I really don't see much of a difference in these hands from one to another, except, you know, so I really don't see why we got extra hands. I would have rather have had extra accessories, but that's okay. So let's go ahead and break down the articulation. His foot moves on his ankle. His knee has a double joint. And then his upper thigh moves. He's got a rubbery loincloth. He's got an upper thigh cut, it looks like, which destroys the sculpt. No. I always hate those. I mean, it's nice for articulation, but if it's going to destroy the sculpt, figure something else out, you know? Make it bend on the knee or something, or up higher, or I don't know. Anyway, it's got a waist turn. He's got an upper crunch, which is nice that doesn't destroy or impede the look of it. Let's see, his shoulders move. He's got a little leaf hanging out here. It's a little bit sharp, but not too bad. Bicep cut, and then double jointed elbows. He did a nice job on that. And then his wrist has all kinds of movement on there as well. And of course his hand, I'm sure, just pops right off. Yep, with no problem. There we go. Oh, I'm sure his head moves too. Burp, burp, burp. Sure his head comes off too. Oh, look at that. It's funny. He looks kind of like Beast Man. Oh. All right. So let's go ahead and start to rip this guy to pieces and see what we can get. Let me take a look at your guys' comments. Actually, you know what? Let me throw him in the hot water first. Then I'll look at your comments, because we know it takes a while of sitting in the hot bath in order to do some dissection. So let's just start with his legs. We'll just stick these in here. I should have gone with a wider cup today. Nope, that works. Just lower him right in there. And let's look at your guys' questions while we're waiting. Let's see. Kenny Potter said, "What's up, Hebrew? Not too much. Just pulling this poor figure apart." I didn't see all of your last video. Well, the good thing is it is safe, so you can check it out. What customs are you trying to make? Nothing in particular. I'm just seeing how far this guy can be tore apart. Sledge Master, hey, I'm back. I believe the saying came from a movie. Yep, it sure did. I'll be back. Careful, you may cause him to bloom. Don, you are hilarious. John Woo, wow, I can actually caught a live. Well, hey, John, thanks for joining us. I'm glad you caught one live. It's good that it happened. All right. I normally I gotta wait like 3 minutes, but let's just see. These parts seem a little softer. See what we can pull apart on this guy. Let me cover the water to keep it hot. Let's go ahead and see if his feet come off first. Ooh. Oh, he's got a little point in there, which I think should be able to come apart. But it's going to take some more hot water. Oh, we got it. Hey, his foot comes off. You can see there is the piece right here. Let's see what else we got here. Now, because there's no pins here, his knees are not going to be easily removable. You're going to have to take like a knife and cut inside the side right here and then slice that pin and then have to re-glue it later. So that kind of stinks. Let's see if his upper thigh comes apart. Oh, his whole leg comes off. I was not expecting that. So just like we saw with the Origins, the leg can come off, which I didn't know it was going to. So good thing that worked instead of ripping his leg to pieces. And this might come apart too. Let's just toss this part of the leg back in there and see. So this could be kind of fun. If you could take off the legs like that. Let's get this side off too while we're at it. There we go. I'm going to leave this foot on so I don't mix them up. It's kind of hard to tell which is the big toe. I know it's sticking on the inside, but it looks like something from that movies, or that TV series, Stranger Things, that kind of creature-looking thing. Ah! All right. Let's look at this loincloth. I should have grabbed a screwdriver so I can get the loincloth off. Let me go and dip him back in the water. Oh, I got a screwdriver right here. Look at that. I am prepared without even realizing it. So let's go ahead and set him back in the water and see if we can't get that loincloth off, because that would be a plus. You gotta get his shoulders in there. Dude, you're too muscle bound with all this tree shrubbage. Now, did you guys see that cool Swamp Thing TV series they had? If not, go back and watch it. I think it might be on, where did DC move to? It moved to HBO Plus? HBO Max. HBO Max, I guess. It might be on there. But it used to be on that DC Universe channel, and I actually watched it, enjoyed it. It was pretty fun. The guy found out he was actually... I don't want to ruin the show for you. Never mind. Just in case you haven't watched it, you got to check it out. It's really cool. I missed the start. Why are you taking him apart? Just to see if we can. I'm not making a custom or anything else. He's just a sacrificial figure to see how far he can pull him apart to eventually do customs on him. So thanks for asking, Dean. Nice but different looking Moss Man. Yeah, it's HBO Max. I've seen that. Nice, Kenny. Thanks. All right, let's see if we got this hot enough to get that loincloth off. Let's put that back on top. Let's see if we can aim this just right. Now, normally for classics, I just take this screwdriver and I set it around here and start to pull it all the way around. And this actually seems a lot stronger than the classics does. You know what? Look at that. The loincloth and the belt might be glued separately. So those, actually, it looks like they are. It's like they may not even be glued. It may just be pressure in there separately. So if that's the case, oh yeah, look at that. Look at that. The belt and the loincloth are two separate pieces. So if you wanted to do some really cool customizing, if He-Man has the same thing, you could change your belt color really easily if you can get it off there. So the trick is, because they're double stacked, it's going to make it pulling it apart a lot more difficult. So let's first see if it pops off. Ooh, some pressure and strength. Nope, it doesn't. I'm afraid I'm going to snap it if I do that. So let's try to get the belt off first. Okay, let's check this side. What I'm looking for is a hole that connects it. There is a hole, but it's really deep in there. I'm surprised okay, you can see it right here. The hole in the front. If we can get our screwdriver in there without ripping it or breaking it. There we go. Look at that. I got it. So now let's just heat it up some more. Burp. Into the hot water. All right, let's take a look here. Hi, does he have ankle pivot? He does. Here is his ankle piece right here, and it does pivot back and forth. And I'll show you the leg that I already pulled off. So you can see, burp, burp, and it turns. So he does have, left and right pivot? No, just front and back, and then rotate. So no side to side unless you kind of yank it that way, but not really. It's just because it's soft. So up, forward, and back, and then rotate. Now you could turn it and then use your forward and back this way to create side movement. Hopefully it answers your question. Let's see. I think this is the best looking figure, this line 2. The sacrificial lamb. Yep. And who knows? He might be a cool figure to use. Like I said, I probably want to mix some parts of his with Evil Seed. And that could be fun, you know, because Evil Seed's got some cool stuff too. And if we put some thistles and thorns on his big old thing coming off his arm, that could be kind of fun. All right, so we can get his belt off without causing too much damage. You can do it. What I'm doing is just going around this and trying to stretch that rubber over his other loincloth, because this design, like I said, they have two different loincloth pieces. One is the belt, and one is, looks like it's coming off. It's coming off. It's hardening up. Time to put it back in the hot water. And you'll notice when you go to do customs, you may have to reheat things over and over again. Just be prepared for that. Now, I do have a heat gun back here just in case that water cools down too much. Brian, you made it. Thanks for making it. I appreciate it. Let's see. You probably have to crack the door. So have you ever done a torso crack? I have. I'm not planning on cracking the torso yet on him. I'm going to see how he comes apart easily. For those that want to do easy customs, I don't want to destroy a figure if I can help it, if he's able to be put back together easily. So let's go ahead and continue on. Put my lid back on. And let's get the rest of this belt off. And I think I can do it without tearing the rubber on here. It looks like it's just about off. So close. Hooray! Now that is really stretched out right now. So when I heat this back up, and you'll notice this time they put it front and back, the seams, instead of left and right. Let me go and heat this up for a second so it can regain its shape. There we go. Now it's getting back to shape. So you can see now, when our classics were put together, we had these notches in the left and right, and the large notch was on the right side, and the small notch was on the left side. This way, you can see the large notches in the back. This is good to know, so when I go to take off this piece, I know to go from the back side, because that's for the large, you can see the large hole right there. So that will work out better for pulling this off. So let's go ahead and heat this up again and get the shorts off. So he's going back into the hot water. No, I'm cooking alive. You know what? We like steamed vegetables, Moss Man. Sorry. Nothing against you. So let's go ahead and Taylor, get your questions. Let's see. How hot can the water be before you ruin the parts? Good question. I like to run my water less than boiling. I keep it right about 205 degrees if I can. That seems to be a pretty good temperature. It's not too hot. If you touch it, you just burn your finger a little bit, but not a lot. But it's also not enough to destroy the rubber on the plastic. Now, it does take longer. Normally, it's about a 3-minute soak time for it to actually be able to take parts apart. I'm kind of rushing it a little bit, so you may see it's a little harder for me to pull some of the parts apart just because I'm rushing it. Now, that leg's been sitting there a long time, so the leg might be able to come off easier. Now, normally, I'd turn this 90 degrees because I had more space, but because they designed this with the large hole in the back, I can just jam it right in there and get to work on this right away. And basically, as you go around, you unfold that seam, and then it just pops right off, as long as it doesn't cool on you. Take his shorts right off. You can do it. There we go. And there is his shorts. Now, it's so cool that, like I said, the belt and the shorts are two separate pieces. I'm really hoping they do this with all the other figures too, because then you could do some belt swaps and just take the belt off and paint it a different color and stick it back on and not have to worry about trying to get it right around the seams. That's cool. Now, after you paint something like this, getting it back on is going to be a lot of effort. So let's take a look here at what we have. They do have some, that's crazy. They actually sculpted stuff in right around here, and that's usually kind of hidden. And you can see the little lines right there, the thicker one in the back and the smaller one in the front. And sure enough, it goes right up inside there. So to get this part off, you would have to crack the torso. So let's go ahead and pull his head off now. We know that comes off pretty easy. And let's go ahead and soak one shoulder and see what comes off on this side. We know the hands come off already. Let's just yank those off now. And while we're doing this, I need to reach in there and grab that leg out of there. All right, let's get this leg out of here. There we go. And let's stick one arm in there, and let's see what that does. We'll get it as low in there as we can. And let's go ahead and see what this leg does and where it comes apart. Well, like I said, you can see the pins in there are pretty well stuck. You literally have to cut that pin to get it out of there. But it's just like the Classics is, except for the pin itself is not easily removable. So normally, if you're going to do a custom on this, you would take and you would slice the pin right here, right there, and then carefully re-glue that pin back together later when you're done making your custom. So let's see, this top part comes off. And it does. So you can see how that attaches. So we're getting quite a few parts just sitting around on this guy. Poor Mossy. He has gone through the shredder. I'll pull this foot off. What the heck? Oh, it's too cold. Got to reheat that up. That way I can have a full everything apart. But while that's heating up, let's see what we can do with this right here. So the elbow is the same way, but I believe the bicep could probably be removed. Ugh. Come on. There we go. So he has a nub. And let's go ahead and see. Get his other arm off. Poor Mossy. Got him sitting in the hot water again. Let's take a look at your guys' comments while we stare at Moss Man boiling away. Oh yeah, that would be cool if shoulders come off. I'm gonna try that just to see what happens, but I'm looking at it right now and I can see it's not gonna come off the same way. It's got a roller pin on there. Looks like you've been a scientist and experimenting on Moss Man, kind of like Frankenstein's monsters. Well, hey, please watch Swamp Thing. You guys are killing me. I want to tell you about it. And watch it first, and then sometime I will talk about Swamp Thing versus what I'm doing to this poor guy right here. It is hilarious when you think about it, if you were to see the actual Swamp Thing TV series. All right, so let's take off this arm. Now what I'm looking for is that they have two different size pins. Sometimes they do that. They'll make the right side one size and the left side another size. It looks like, nope, they're both the same size. So there you go. Just to see if the center part comes apart here. Nope, that's pretty well stuck. Sometimes, in some figures, this will pop apart right here and you can pull that off. But that's as far as you can get without doing some major destruction on the figure to get it taken apart. And that's pretty good. I mean, that gives us a lot of customizing options right there. And the right paint and stuff, and the belt being a separate piece, that's good and bad. Good, like I said, easy painting, easy stuff like that. Bad because it's harder to get off and on because now you're messing with two pieces instead of one. Because you have to be able to stretch this out. And if this is on top, it's going to stop this from stretching. So you have to literally put this on first and then extra stretch this over that as well and then put it on. So I'm guessing in the factory they put this on first and then put the torso together, which is a lot of work because to get this torso apart you got to first crack open this. And I kind of got to start on it now because my hot water is harsh on hard plastic, as you can see. So I could take and pry this open, pop that off, then pry this open and pop that off, and then get to this here, which would allow me to put the loincloth on and off easily. Now, if you want to use the loincloth and not have to worry about the figure, if you don't care about it, you could just take and snap the figure and then just pull these off. If you're not planning on using the figure at all and you just want the loincloths. But you guys have seen me do that before with 2000X stuff, so there we go. All right, let's get that leg out of there and pull off the last couple pieces. There we go, and let's pull off his foot. And his upper thigh. The water's starting to cool down. Ugh. There we go. So let's go ahead and do a quick organization of this guy, all tore apart. So we have his leg. Now this kind of stinks. It's hard to tell which is which, but they have an L there, so I know it's the left leg. Otherwise I might be messed over. So this must be the right leg, R for right. Then we have his extra hands, his arm. What? That says R for right. Then we have this chunk, which I don't see the label on it. L. There we go. And this chunk here should have an R on it if I did that right. Well, that's interesting. I don't see any marks. Well, the cool thing is like a puzzle piece, you can just line it up and see. This should go on the inside of the leg, and you can see the bump fits there and the bump fits there. So that's got to be for that one. Again, inside of the leg. Let's see if the muscle structure lines up, and it does. There's that one piece going right across there. So those go like that. His head goes up there. His loincloth and belt. Let's just sprinkle these hands around. His arm. And then his feet. And let's see, the thumb goes on the inside. So there we go. There he is, all tore to pieces. That is the expanded view of our Moss Man. All right. Hey, do you think He-Man 2000X loincloth would fit it? Okay, that's a great question. I think you could put one on here, but it would have to be stretched really far. And after you put it on, you're going to find that it's going to suck in tighter than this lip is right here. And it's going to leave the stomach sticking out past the belt because it's really thin. Now, if you take one from, I believe it's Man-at-Arms, his is wider. His would actually fit on here better than He-Man's because he has a wider, it's actually a little fatter, I believe, on his. So it depends on the figure you're doing it on. Great question. Are you going to flock him? Nope. I'm not going to flock him. This may sound awful. I really don't care about this particular new action figure set. I'm just going to use them for pieces for customs. So that's why it wasn't that big a deal for me to rip them to pieces. Because I'm a classics guy. So my origins are fun. And these ones here, mostly just for custom stuff or to show you guys. So I'll be buying a bunch of the figures just to show you what you can do with them. And maybe make some cool customs out of them. Alright, Sledge Master says, be nice to have some kind of moss feeling or flocked material on Moss Man, as long as it doesn't rub off. Yes, and that has always been the problem with Moss Man. Cerno Games Go says, I'm coming to the realization that the He-Man body is perfect 7-inch barbarian for any customing. That it could be, because the wrist cuffs come off and everything else, so you could take and pull them apart completely and have a bare, naked figure with no He-Man stuff at all. Sledge Master, my exercises and workouts are going pretty good. I'll have a video coming out probably in about a month or two showing my results. Let's see, John Woo, new TV series. It's pretty good. There are some great features about the new TV series. I'm not, fond about all the storylines, but there is some cool stuff in it. Holding the part slightly too high in relation to the camera cuts off the top. Sorry about that, Kevin. That looks like a really gross green tea. Yes, Brian, it does. You could always make holes in the side all the way through and put the pin in if you... Oh, yeah, if you cut the pegs off. You could make new pegs and it look like customs. Oh, just stepped in. Does he smell? That is a good question. I'll be right back. I'm going to test my wife and ask her if this guy smells or not. Now, he wasn't completely submerged in water, so should we have some smell left? I seriously doubt it, but let's give it a quick check. Hey, pretty lady. Smell check. Does he smell like anything? It used to be Moss Man.
Just slightly, not much.
Does it smell like Christmas tree stuff? Evergreen.
No,
So it just smells like plastic.
yeah, I think so.
It's not like evergreen or nothing like the other Moss Man used to smell. So no tree freshener.
Not that I can smell, no.
All right, I just asked the nose that knows, and my wife says he does have a smell, and I said like evergreen tree. She goes no, like plastic. So he smells like plastic. There you go. So that's what he smells like. That'd be cool. Wow, you guys have a lot of comments on here. Let's just call him by his real name, Swamp Thing. Yes, P.O. Box Christmas, you are right. You could spray something on Moss Man to give him a natural smell. I personally would not. You could actually ruin the plastic and paint by doing that. What I used to tell people was if you can get to the torso, and a good way to do it in the past was to take the head off on the 80s figures and then take a cotton ball full of the smell and stuff it down inside and then put the head back on. And that seemed to work pretty good, but his torso is pretty well sealed. So I don't know how you're going to get that in there without damaging the paint. Especially when it came to things like Stinkor, having that, that smell from the 70s inside of him. That was the best way to do it. But But this figure, not sure. They used to actually add the smell in the plastic while they were making it originally, so I don't know. It probably has to do with people's allergens nowadays. There's just not a lot of articulation there. That's funny because it doesn't go left and right. You can feel it's kind of stuck. And you can see me twisting it that way, but as soon as I let go, it goes right back. And then even forward and back, there's really not a lot of articulation either. It's just a waste of an articulation point. Crazy. Anyway, as my phone's overheating anyway, I'm just going to go ahead and call it. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, click the link I have in the description so you can see all the different figures they have. Even if you don't buy any, just check it out. Click the link, please. It will help me and this channel. And it is one of those endorsed links. And then let me know. And do check out my metal swords as well. Go to he